Hey everyone, so thanks for joining us here, or at least you didn't get up and leave. So I hope this is worth your time. We'll be presenting TeamViewer and talking a bit about how TeamViewer is transforming the digital workplace and IT support with AI. So this is all about smarter, more efficient, more proactive IT support. And that's my colleague Freddy, part of the product management team. He joined us with our recent acquisition of 1E that he'll talk about in a bit. And myself, Artus, also part of the product management team at TeamViewer. And to kick it off, I think it's a good way to kick it off to look at some of the global mega trends that we see and how TeamViewer is already addressing them. By the way, who knows TeamViewer loosely? Okay, cool. So we'll see what it does in a bit as well, but let's review some of the mega trends that we see here. And the first one that's keeping us busy is the rise of hybrid work and remote work. So it's no longer a trend, it's there to stay. We will see an increase of remote jobs by 25% in the next years, up to 2030. And what it means is that the digital workforce needs to access information, applications, systems from wherever they are, and IT needs to support this. TeamViewer has been at the forefront of this with remote access, leading remote connectivity solution. That's our core business. But it ties into the second challenge that we see, which is security at scale. And this is not only about IT anymore, but what we also see is businesses increasing their digital footprint, especially in connected OT devices, so operational technology. We expect the number of connected operational technology to double within the next 8 years, up to 40 billion endpoints that are connected. And all of them are a potential security threat or vulnerability, so we need to keep them safe. And AI, so AI-driven insight, real-time monitoring, and automated remediation is essential to keep this system running and scaling security. Especially in a world where we see an increasing IT skill gap. So with the technology environment changing so quickly, it's difficult for the workforce to actually keep up with those changes. So we do see this in the ratio of job vacancies to professional unemployed professionals has increased by a factor of 4 over the last years. And what this means is that IT teams are stretched thin in these complex times, and we can support them with AI and automation to make sure they can focus on strategic tasks and not the trivial, repetitive tasks. Strategic tasks are relevant since technology is really all about digital transformation, and we can see that most of the companies, 98% of companies, see technology as the main lever to reinvent themselves, which means that IT is also no longer a cost center, but it's an actual business driver. They need to support digitization and business transformation. All of that while keeping an eye on sustainability. So this is a focus topic, rightfully so. And TeamViewer has helped businesses reduce carbon dioxide emissions by around 40 million tons per year by reducing the need for on-site visits. And lastly, and this will be the focus topic of today, it's the topic of this conference, right? It's the rise of AI and especially AI adoption, with the majority of IT leaders anticipating to increase investment in AI. I think now we're in a phase where it's really about adoption of the technology, so making sure it brings customer value and tangible return on investment. So before we deep dive into that, let's just quickly look at what TeamViewer does at the core and how it's already addressing all of these challenges for our customers. Okay, there's supposed to be a nice female engaging voice. Since it's not there, I'll do my best to mimic it. Let's actually repeat this then. I'm not sure if we can fix the audio. If not,
At TeamViewer, we build bridges, connecting experts to where they need to be, with the right person, device, or machine, whether they are in the office, on the production floor, or out in the field. We are leaders in remote connectivity, developing software to reinvent workplaces. We partner with the most innovative companies, providing customers with digital tools to be more productive and more efficient, transforming business-critical processes so they can work smarter and better. Our solutions help customers to tackle worldwide challenges and enable them across the world to digitalize and transform. We are pioneers and innovators, delivering not just for now, but laying the foundations for what's coming next. Empowering anyone to solve tomorrow's problems, creating a world that works better.
All right, so now you know what we do. TeamViewer, a technology leader in remote connectivity, pushing the boundaries, helping businesses to digitize and transforming their businesses. Now let's deep dive into our AI solutions, so really what we shipped, some of our solutions, how they really matter to customers, and also our thinking of the way forward by utilizing AI into a more proactive world of IT support. And I think it's fair to say that we can see that the Gen AI hype has somewhat settled. So just reiterating, it's really about customer value now and return on investment. So the first feature I want to highlight, or solution that we've shipped, is called Session Insights. If you would put it in simple terms, it's a summary of what happens in a remote support session. But why does it matter? Why does it actually solve pain points? And why is it more than just a summary? It addresses some of the imminent pain points of IT support. So documentation, reliably, high quality is an essential part of IT service management. Most of the time it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in a good quality. And if it does, it eats away time of the staff, where they shouldn't be focused on paperwork, but on problem solving. So we're doing that. But more importantly, we're creating a pool of structured data where they can build analytics on top of it. So that's really about understanding which patterns reoccur, how to take smarter decisions, how to optimize IT infrastructure, and also about spotting skill gaps and capturing this knowledge that can then be used for quicker learning in the organization, and also eventually to fuel automation and all of the more fancy things. So let's look at how this works in the real world. Let's see a bit of a demo. Assume you're a service desk agent, you're troubleshooting an issue. So this is the TeamViewer platform. You're connecting to a device, and within a few seconds, you have a secure connection. And now we're just assuming we're troubleshooting some connectivity issues. So we're doing a bit of diagnosis. We're checking if we're connected to the right Wi-Fi. We're checking if the connectivity status is fine, doing more troubleshooting just to showcase briefly the tool belt of IT support. So we'll also use some terminal commands. But essentially what we're doing in the background now, while the agent is spending the time troubleshooting, we are listening to those interactions on a very granular level so they can really capture them for a summary and the analytics part of it. So that's the last troubleshooting step we're doing here, just using the terminal to flush the DNS cache. Once we've done this, we'll verify it's done, and then we're closing the session. And at that point, when we're closing the session, usually a service desk agent would sit down, take 5 minutes to document it, and now we've done this fully automatic, and you can see within a second, there's the full summary. And you can, even by just briefly looking at it, you can see that the summary of this quality takes a bit to do. So it's a title, there's a short text paragraph that's outlining what happened in the session, perfect for quick case review handover, and the detailed action steps, which means each individual action in the context of the application, covering the entire tool belt of IT support, so capturing terminal commands and so forth. And some of the key challenges here were really making sure we capture everything that's relevant, while not capturing things that shouldn't be there. So we remove personal information, authentication details, all of these things. And this is really where we work together with the customers to find this fine line and building something that they can really use and that adds value to it. So that's how it saves time for an agent. But now looking or stepping into the shoes of an IT team lead, they are concerned about what keeps their team busy. So they want to know which topics are a problem, where do they add user friction, how can we remove them. So that's where the categorization of each session comes in, and they can use the dashboard to then deep dive and see which issues reoccur over and over again over the last days, weeks, months, which applications are most error-prone. They can then deep dive into the effective solutions and use this knowledge to really scale it in the organization and fuel more proactive measures. And while this is still very close to the core use case of TeamViewer remote support, which is still a one-to-one interaction, it's really building the foundation and taking our users on our customers on a journey of digitization, because this will also fuel automation and more proactive support, which Freddy will speak about, where we did a major step forward with the acquisition of 1E, which is a industry-leading provider of end-user computing and digital employee experience. And over to you.
Yeah, thank you for teaming me up. So obviously thrilled to speak here today. I'm more than aware that you've all heard of TeamViewer because everyone was nodding when Artus started presenting. And one or two of you probably hasn't heard of 1E because obviously we're a UK company and a little bit small traditionally. So yeah, I'll take you through how combined the portfolios of TeamViewer and 1E are really looking to revolutionize the space in terms of end user compute and also digital employee experience. So DEX, I love always showing this graphic because I think we landed very well in the Gartner Magic Wave last year in terms of continuously innovating in this space over the past few years in terms of our observability, self-healing automation, and real-time remediation capabilities. So in terms of our mission statement, together, TeamViewer and 1E of our combined portfolio, we're really seeking to provide a full spectrum of IT support, which I'll cover off in a second, and that covers off multiple things. That covers off self-healing automation, scalable remediation in real time, and also continuously enhancing the quality of your digital delivery, and also the experience and productivity of your users, because that's a key aspect of DEX. Oh, let's go animations. So what does this really mean? So I'm a product manager. I love breaking things down into smaller problems because it's easier for me to understand. So I always break it down into proactive and reactive. So when we think about how IT support used to work, it used to be you'd wait until something happened, and then you'd get a ticket, and you'd go fix it. And I think everyone in this room understands that's a tired old argument, and that doesn't work today. We're a much more fast-paced environment. Everyone works remote, so that's very complicated. And of course, we know there's AI technology out there today that can help. But of course, when we think about what TeamViewer has done historically, it's really been on the reactive side of things. So obviously, world-class remote support and remote access technologies. And I think the key thing here is we really see that being part and parcel with our push to kind of add left or extend the shift left paradigm to be more proactive moving forwards, as much as possible identifying problems before they impact users and fixing them automatically, avoiding any disruption whatsoever. And we see remote access and TeamViewer Tensor, for example, being a really key aspect in terms of that strategy. A couple of examples, which Artus has already mentioned, is stuff like AI Copilot, so empowering technicians if they do need to solve a particularly complex challenge or something that's completely novel or infrequent, empowering them with AI-generated suggestions based on the context that the agent can provide, but also learning from all those technician sessions, as Artus mentioned, so you've got this huge body of knowledge of how IT people solve problems. Again, empowering those experts to be more effective in their job, getting their problem solved faster, moving on to the next ticket, and also providing a better experience to the end user who just wants to get on with their work. What does 1E bring into this? So 1E traditionally has been very much focused on the proactive side of things. So things like deep telemetry. So we have in our Elastic SaaS platform anomaly-based insights and alerting, where we gather huge amounts of data, whether that's device performance, application health, network telemetry, and we automatically analyze that using different anomalous-based methods, trend analysis, to surface and bubble up potential issues. We've also got real-time remediation capabilities. So once we find a problem, we don't just tell you about it. We've also got capabilities to help you fix those things automatically in real time, whether that's across tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of devices. Again, avoiding end-user interruption or disruption occurring in the first place. And lastly, event-driven validation. Once we fix something, you need to know it's fixed. So we've got methods to help you understand, did your fix that you pushed out actually have the right impact? And that user productivity is now tracking up and to the right again. Just to go one level deeper in terms of the technology we bring to the space, hybrid edge AI. This is really a mixture of different AI capabilities we've been building over the past couple of years, both in our cloud, but also deploying AI capabilities to the edge, hence the word hybrid. And to give a couple of different use cases that we've been pushing out to customers recently, things like intelligent sentiment analysis. So some of the telemetry I was just talking about in terms of understanding your system performance, application health, and network telemetry, I always call these hard metrics. It's often elusive to understand how do your users actually feel about their IT? Do they feel productive? Do they feel empowered? There's obviously things like surveys, focus groups, they all add value, but how can we augment this with AI? And this is where we start introducing capabilities where we can actually predict user sentiment using just the device telemetry we have and what the user is doing, how they're acting, because a user can act frustrated, providing that finger on the pulse and helping IT teams prioritize issues, for example, resolving issues that are most frustrating for users. The second one is context-aware insights, which I talked about earlier. So all that data that we gather from environments, understanding what the actual issues are, as opposed to IT teams having to go hunt for problems and spending many, many hours trying to find the root cause. So bubbling up these issues, automatically doing root cause analysis, correlationary analysis, and then the next step of that is providing the remediation recommendations. All that business context we've got of what we think the problem is, what we think the root cause is, what do we recommend you do next? So as I mentioned earlier, the 1E tech stack includes the ability to automate policies or deliver automation policies, fix issues before users are even impacted, whether that's fixing something once or fixing it forever. And we can proactively recommend these to technicians once we understand the environment to help avoid those problems, absolutely. And the last part of this is edge AI execution. And this is where we can deploy these remediations in real time to the edge, again, across hundreds of thousands of devices. Increasingly, we're looking at how we can personalize these remediations based on what we know the work style of the user is. When should we recommend rebooting a device? What configuration should we be recommending to suit the particular persona and the particular end user that we're helping in that instance? And I think the key thing here is so far I've been talking mostly about IT. So traditional, managing IT, laptops and workstations, where traditionally the concerns are around, data, security, connectivity. A key industry trend we've seen in the last couple of years is actually the convergence between IT and OT, where increasingly OT, so operational technology, so more factory floors, production environments, production lines, increasingly has needs that are traditionally only served in the IT space. And for us, we see a couple of key drivers here. The first one, as Artus mentioned earlier, is the complete explosion of connected devices. So by 2033, they're forecasting there'll be 40 billion smart devices in the OT space. So think, Amazon warehouses where they've got robots delivering parcels, all these connected medical devices. So first, explosion of connected devices. Second is security risks. All of these devices have an internet connection, and that massively increases the vulnerability surface in terms of potential cybersecurity threats. And so again, that surfaces the need for adopting more IT-style policies in terms of monitoring, conducting threat assessment, and also remediation capabilities. So if a risk does occur, being able to resolve that problem and get back to business as usual as effectively as possible. And the third one is data-driven analytics. With IT, we've got tons of data that we can analyze to understand how to improve productivity, how to optimize operations. Why can't OT benefit from that as well? If we connect all these devices and we analyze the data the right way, we can figure out how a factory can improve the productivity of their production lines, reduce downtime, and at the end of the day, improve the company's bottom line. And those are the key reasons we see the IT and OT spaces converging. And I think the key thing here is with TeamViewer, we're at the bleeding edge of this in terms of bringing these two spaces together so that whilst traditionally they're seen as mutually exclusive, we just see them as two sides of the same coin. And eventually we see a future of autonomous IT where no matter whether you're managing hundreds or thousands of laptops or you run a factory or both, you can actually use the same platform, the same tooling to optimize those environments and make them as autonomous and self-optimizing as possible. So when we break it down, we think of the sort of entire holistic support lifecycle, we can break into three main areas. So firstly, to recap the proactive side of things, which pretty much is the 1E tech stack bread and butter, and that's identifying problems before users are even aware, and empowering tech teams, so whether that's end user compute, digital employee experience, to fix that problem before end users are disrupted. We've then got the reactive side of things, so the TeamViewer remote control experience and Tensor to fix those problems and also empower technicians with AI capabilities so they can do that job effectively, quickly, and get the user back up and running. And the third one is interactive, so frontline and augmented reality, which I didn't talk about much today, but empowering users if they're trying to fix a machine, for example, with powerful AR capabilities, so again, they can get that production environment up and running as quickly as possible. So how does this all fit together? Obviously, I've talked about a lot of things, and there are more animations. No. It shows different there. So how does this all fit together? So for us, the way we articulate it is AI-infused IT service management, so moving from co-pilot to autopilot. So as Artus mentioned earlier, we're carrying out these session insights and gathering and building this data layer where we're learning really in depth how people solve IT problems. And that's evolving in terms of analytics, helping IT teams understand what problems they need to focus on, what automations they need to implement to fix those problems forever, as opposed to requiring repetitive support sessions. And then moving on to building this knowledge capturing, sort of a holistic unified intelligence layer, where it knows everything about the business context, what their aims are, what their SOPs are, and it can recommend what they do to fix problems and also self-optimize that as much as possible. And then, of course, we have Copilot in terms of helping technicians solve those problems more effectively, and then eventually Autopilot, where leveraging all this information, an agentic web of different capabilities, can actually self-optimize and improve that environment autonomously, again, obviously always having a human in the loop. I'm way over time, so I'm going to stop talking. I think the key thing here is that TeamViewer innovation is in our blood around us, especially with Ronnie now we've joined the family. So really excited to take you through our vision today. We'll be hanging around if you've got any questions, but it was great to take you through our AI vision.
Artus and Freddie, thank you so much for your insights.